Sup, legends? Welcome back to the Fitness and Business Podcast. John Salmon here. Today, I'm joined by John Yang. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you? Thanks for
Re-
inviting me. I appreciate it.
Mate, thanks you very much for coming on. I'm always appreciative of people giving up their time in their busy schedules to jump on and have a conversation. It's honor to have you here, and for the listeners, I always love explaining how connections were made and things like that. And I bought some gym equipment off John. I don't know how many years ago. It's probably like 20, I'm going to say during like COVID-ish,
Yeah.
2020, 2021, because that's kind of when I put some gear at the front of my studio and really started to launch my business so I could resign from my government job. So it's so you're literally the foundation because of the floor mats in helping me get up and running. So thank you.
Mate, always a pleasure. And, it's just so amazing how all of a sudden we can be interconnected and then kind of connect back now after so many years. Likewise, seeing you grow your business over this period of time has been, very inspirational. I love seeing it.
Appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Mate, tell us about, and for anyone who's jumped on, we're a minute and a half in. For the listeners, because people jump on the podcast and they're like, why would I listen to these two guys having a chat? Give us a little bit of background on you, your business, and sort of what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'll start a bit from the start. I first but I guess you can say, I used to live in a small country town about 3 to 4 hours away from Brisbane. I was pretty much that Asian kid in the Asian restaurant. My family used to own a small family business, um, and I was essentially, the waiter and also, the kitchen hand per se. That was probably my first start into working. I was pretty young. I think I was about 9 at that point.
Yeah.
And from there, I guess I was there for about 7 years, and then I moved back into Brisbane at my later high school years, and then from then, I guess my first official work experience per se, business, would be working in real estate. So I used to sell apartments in the city for a few years, and then eventually moved into selling homes in Hope Island. So yeah, I guess that was probably my first experience in regards to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then from then onwards, I did a pretty massive change, and I guess fell into the industry which I'm doing now. So I've been doing the gym and fitness sports type of industry for the last 12 to 13 years. Um, I originally did own and operate a sports center, a yoga studio, and a gym. And I guess how John, met me was through this now, type of
Mm.
business, which is mainly in regards to e-commerce and online retail, where I specialize in gym and fitness products, flooring, etc.
That's awesome, man. That's quite a journey. Where's that small town? I used to live out west of Brisbane myself.
Yeah. So it's west of Gympie, about an hour and a bit. It's a small town called Mergen. It's about,
That's really
back
cool.
in the day, it was about 3,500 people in the town.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, close to Kingaroy, if you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Wow.
Oh
That's
wow,
really
there
cool.
you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. And
Yeah,
that's such a different lifestyle to that of Hope Island or Brisbane City. So really cool.
yeah, completely different. Looking back, I really enjoy it. I still keep in touch with some of the friends out there. So now that you have Facebook, back then, pretty much it was, dial up and riding bikes was pretty much all we had.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, no, it was a good experience, good part of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And as far as feel free to plug the business, which I'll chuck a link in at the end as well. But what company do you run?
Yeah, sure. So I run Insource Australia. We specialize in gym and fitness products. We sell a variety of products online, Australia wide. Um, starting from, dumbbells, kettlebells, flooring, racking, etc.
Mm,
And we've been in operation for approximately 4.5 years now. Um,
that's great.
Gradually grown the business overall and expanded our product range. But yeah, we're continuously trying to improve ourselves in regards to our service and offerings.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, small family business, but we're gradually growing as we go.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. The one of the reasons, not just because we've been connected a few years ago through business, but one of the reasons I wanted to interview you is because having connected on Instagram, you're at the gym, you're out with the family, you're doing things to look after your physical and mental health and your family, and I consistently seen that journey. So, firstly, congratulations, because so many people drop the ball on those things and taper off. When as the business grows, it's like this swap, where the business grows upwards and the health and wellness goes downwards. Not all the time, but have a look around. Like it's pretty consistent. And that's something that I always, because of the industry I'm in, but also because of the personal values that I have for that, it's really cool to see other people, because I just, like, we all try our best, right? And so if you're listening to this and you have dropped the ball, not saying you're an idiot. I'm just saying there's opportunity and there's things you can do. But I'd love to dig into your thoughts, your vision around keeping fit and healthy. It's quite obvious by looking at you. You keep yourself fit and strong and healthy. To do that, you must train, you must eat well, you must sleep well, and all of those things. And so I'd love to dig into your routine and the fundamentals that you do, to share that journey with others, because like you said, you launched something 4.5 years ago, coming from something else, and you've obviously kept that as part of your lifestyle. So take it away, mate, to share a little bit about the fitness, nutrition, and how you do things, and I'll jump in where I can.
Yeah, sure. So, in general, I guess for me, consistency is key. I've found, over the years, like probably everyone else, you have times where you are extremely consistent and then times where you taper off. Lifestyle gets a bit too busy. You
Mm,
can't prioritize your fitness as much. And then I guess overall, looking back, that has helped me the most. Like having a set amount of time each day, prioritize that within my general lifestyle, has definitely been one of the keys to my success, I guess you can say, in regards to fitness.
mm,
How I like to do it is, locking down, a couple of hours before work. In general, I like to do a bit of cardio and hypertrophy training. That has seemed to work for me the best.
mm, mm.
Generally, a couple of body parts a day, chest, etc., arms, and the next day moving on and on about 5 to 6 times a week. So
Sure.
I felt that has worked for me the best. And I have tried other types of exercise as well, like in regards to functional training, all that type of training, like in regards to
Mm.
classes. However, overall, from my experience, because of my lifestyle, my work, my family, um, I've felt that that's pretty much worked for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. And that's like you reiterated a couple of times, which is really good, because some people miss that. They're always looking for, like, John, what's the thing? Like, how do I make this happen? It's like, it's trial and error. You've, like, John, just, it's going to get confusing because we're both John, but like, great name.
Yeah.
Um, some things work for you, some things work for me. And it's like, it's literally about finding, like, trying it and failing and adapting it until you settle into the rhythm of your own thing to what works for you. And so keeping a good rhythm, like consistency, doing 5, 6 days a week, that you find that works for you, just having that, I'm doing this most days of the week. It's just part of the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost as if like my rest day is a day that I absolutely can't work out, where
Yeah.
I have no time to actually like go to the gym. You know, some
Mm,
days like Sundays, I try to lock it out, but I in general, if I have time, I would just go hit the gym, just to kind of get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. I feel it helps me not just physically, it helps mentally as well. In
mm,
regards to clarity, you know, I'm in better moods when I work out. You know,
for
when I
sure.
get a sweat. So that in general, like in regards to hypertrophy and strength training, that's what I
Mm,
do. Um, you know, I also do other sports as well. I play badminton on a pretty regular basis, and that's one of the major cardio aspects that I felt. You know, I also enjoy the sport, but that definitely helps me regarding the cardio side of things. Yeah, and I do that about 3 times a week.
mate, that is so good. I'm often encouraging people to find the hobby again, like find the
Yes.
thing that they used to do back in the. Everyone says, "Oh, back in the day, I used to." I shouldn't say everyone, but like you hear it a lot. Hey, I've said it myself. Oh, I used
Yeah.
to play
Same.
basketball. I used to do this,
Yeah.
and you don't always have to get on a stationary bike or go for a run. It's like that's great. It's a hobby. It ticks the buck. It ticks the box for you. It lights you up, and you're looking after your heart health. So
Yes. Yeah. That's a big thing.
yeah, that's so good, man. And as far as nutrition, mate, you put much focus on nutrition?
Yeah, I do. Not a fully strict type of diet, but I do try to count my calories in a general sense. You know, up my protein intake because of the gym training that I do,
Mm, mm.
and get my veggies, get my fruits in per day, per meal, etc. But in general wise, I do, but I'm not specifically counting every single calorie.
Yeah, for sure. That's great, mate. And that's again, you're. I love how straight to the point you are because it's so. When you really break all this stuff down, I think the fitness and coaching industry can really overcomplicate the fundamentals of what keeps you lean, healthy, strong, and feeling well, and genuinely being well. And I think the those things like what I'm hearing consistently from you, excuse the pun because your favorite word is consistency, but like a simple training routine you can stick to every day, a simple nutrition plan where you're not weighing scales and carrying bags of whey protein to the restaurant and cutting up your chicken breasts every like it's a simple plan that you don't have to put too much mental real estate into that just keeps you where you want to be, right?
100%. Don't get me wrong. I've also done that. Calorie counting,
Yeah,
prepping meals.
yeah.
Have like all takeaway boxes all planned and everything.
Mm.
And that was awesome when I was a bit younger, when I was living by myself.
When you needed
But
it, right?
yeah, when you needed it. But nowadays, I guess I have a family now,
Mm.
and it's a bit harder to kind of schedule those in every single time. When you're having a
Mm.
family meal, you can't really take out a takeaway container. Oh, this is what I'm eating. So I guess, however, in general, we try to eat relatively healthy and
Mm.
relatively lean. Yeah, to try and just keep up with what we're targeting in regards to regards to fitness.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's great, mate. And we've touched on a few things that do work for you, like what the routine looks like. What hasn't worked? Like what have you failed at in regards to fitness, nutrition, wellness, your mental health? Like, has it been challenges along that journey, particularly linking into the business life?
Yeah, definitely. So in my early 20s, when I was working in real estate and trying to you're trying to build yourself, you're trying to improve your work life business. It gets almost to a point where you're too busy and you get carried away, and a lot of the times what falls behind is your fitness. So in my early 20s, there was a period where I completely let myself go. It would be, physically, and you can say a bit of mentally as well,
Mm.
where I gained up to, it would have been, I think I was 130 kilos at one point, and yeah, completely overweight. Didn't have time to, work out. Wasn't happy about myself, and Yeah, there was that time where even I think about it now.
Mm,
I'm trying to not get back to that stage, and every time I let myself go, I'm like, all right, now it's trying to. There's a trigger where I'm like, nah,
mm.
you gotta get back into it again.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
yeah, it's one of those things. Definitely, like I've had that period where I did struggle quite a bit, um, and it took a really big life change to kind of get out of it at that
Mm,
time. Um, Yeah, so I pretty much during that time, like I was working in real estate, and then I had to pretty much completely change. I moved to a different city, different country, even um, change the industry I was in, and that was pretty much how I started in the sports and fitness industry.
yeah,
Not
wow.
really in regards to working out, but
Mm.
in regards to getting into it in regards to like management or admin type of style stuff, and that really triggered a bit of a passion, you can say,
Mm, mm.
to try and find ways to work more with what I like, and yeah, that's kind of how it started.
That's great, mate. How interesting is that? So you're like going down one path of a certain industry and then realize I'm not healthy. I'm probably not as happy as I was. I'm now like, would you consider yourself overweight at that weight? Because you're what, 6'1", 6'2", something like that?
Yeah, 187, yeah, so 6'2" ish, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
that's, you probably carried it well, but also there's probably not as much muscle mass and maybe some more body fat on the body if you weren't training and eating well. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It was
Yeah.
not. I mean, I'm a decent height, but I definitely wasn't carrying it too well.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was a couple of friends that didn't see me for like a year or something. They're like, "Whoa," couldn't really even recognize it was.
What
Yeah.
happened?
I guess it was just unhealthy eating, staying up late. In real estate, you have to work, Monday to Saturday, do open homes, do all that.
Mm,
And I guess the stress was a bit piling on at that
mm,
time. And just didn't prioritize myself really. So it like before then I was actually pretty fit, but then it was just like 1 or 2 years where you let yourself go,
mm.
and it could just happen really quickly. So, um,
Yeah.
but in going back to it, like once I changed the industry, changed my the environment I was in, focused on my fitness again. I lost 50 kilos in that 1 year after that. So I went from like 130 kilos to like 78 kilos. Pretty much just like stuck to a really strict diet,
Good on you. That's
calorie
great.
counting, doing those takeaway boxes.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and following a really strict routine. And pretty much that weight just dropped off. So yeah, I guess that was, like I said, it was a period in my life that I still remember now, and I'm really conscious of. Um, yeah, to try and be consistent instead of doing those ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure. That's great, mate. There's two things I want to touch on there. Number one, well, second one's a question back to you, but the first one, I just want to. There's conversations I've had with people. Some are clients who are on weight loss journeys. Some are prospective people who are like interested in working with me, and others are just people in the DMs and things like that about weight loss and about how I'm really busy, John. I'm really the business is crazy. I've got the team to look after. I've got this and this and this in the family. And they're like, kind of in that narrative, that mindset of do it later. It's too hard. It's this and that, which I fully get. But
100%.
would you agree with me? Because what I often say is like, all it is just a decision. It's just like, I'm not living like this anymore. And then everything, you can work everything you need to do to drop a kilo a week for a year and lose 50 kilos, massive effort. But you can do it, right? Because you did. You just had to make a decision to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I guess for me, like at that point, and even now, it's a decision
Mm,
essentially at the end of the day, and it's a decision to wake up a little bit earlier. It's a decision to eat some things that are a bit more healthier instead of snacks or stuff like that. So everything in my mind, is a decision.
Mm,
You try and make the best decisions, but sometimes obviously you can't, and that's fair enough, and that's okay. Don't put too much stress on yourself, but in a general sense, I think it takes a decision to improve, overall. So as long as you're trying, and you
mm,
have a target in mind, your goal in mind, then I feel you don't need to do it overnight. And that is a bit of an extreme case, which I did before, which I will also not recommend. It's not, even losing that weight, it's not like I was the healthiest I was.
mm, mm,
It, I think right now, as long as, like you said, my favorite word, being consistent and trying to
mm.
like implement a plan overall is my main goal, and that'll
Yeah.
work best overall instead of doing the extremes.
That's great, mate. That's really good. And the thing I wanted to ask back your way was about what you just said is there's five main words that I often talk about with like coaching people and I guess working out um, for someone's vision or mission that they're on. And when I refer to that, just like a business does, it's like, what's that for your health, your vitality, your wellness, your fitness, and your long term approach to staying, I call it fit for business, like staying fit, healthy, strong, and having an appearance and a presence that you're proud of, not from a ego driven way, but from a like, literally, if you're 50 kilos heavier overweight, when you walk into a room, people perceive you differently to if you don't have that much body fat on you and you're lean, fit, healthy, and strong. People just genuinely perceive you differently. But from a outwards perspective from you, if you can take your brain back to when you were like selling homes and doing that and living that lifestyle and you were, had that extra weight on you, how does that and I know you're in a different part of life and business and family and stuff now, but can you remember the difference in how you used to like show up when you looked in the mirror, when you went to work and things like that, when you were heavier? Like, is there a difference?
Yeah, a definite difference. Even I guess when I'm in my early years, I was relatively fit, to when I started gaining that weight. In real estate, that's the thing. You wear a suit every day to sell properties, even when you probably don't deserve the suit. And, you wear it every single day, wear a tie, you go to work and
Mm,
you try to present yourself. And in that industry, it matters, So, a bit of, like you said, the outward appearance of things and how people view you. I guess, maybe you try not to think about it too much, but it does matter. So, however,
mm,
the inward side of things, like when I started gaining that weight and becoming a bit too much overweight, you
mm,
lose that inward confidence, and I feel that's somewhat even more important. Um, Especially if you're dealing with people daily, you
mm.
have to interact with people, communicate with people. I feel as though that's definitely one thing that impacts you the most, um, in regards to your confidence and how you present yourself.
Totally, man. I agree with that. And thanks for sharing. It's so and I've had people say to me, man, like I feel different even just rolling out of bed now that I don't have to
Yeah.
carry that extra weight. And you do this, or you might have a couple extra people that do it for you now. But you know, I actually have a vivid memory of. All right, we're back from our tech issue. I was just reflecting on. I'm glad it didn't jump out of my brain. Sometimes when I get distracted, the little thought goes. Pew!
Yeah.
Um, I have a vivid memory of like carrying mats, like floor mats for here, out of your at the time shed
Yeah.
and to like either my car or your ute or something like that. And I remember having one in each hand, and I'm pretty sure you were monstering like two in each hand. They're like I don't know, 18 kilos each or something. It was like big meter by meter floor mats. And I remember, and for reference, I'm probably about 10 kg heavier now. Hopefully, mostly muscle mass. But like at that time, I was thinking, oh my god, like these things are heavy. And the reason I wanted to reference that is that for you as a bit and this is just drawing reference to the conversation we just had. At that time, I'm I'm in the fitness industry. I'm training and coaching people. I'm trying to grow my business, and so from a internal perception perspective, and like I'm like, there's and hear me. I don't think this is from a jealousy perspective. This is from an inspirational perspective. I'm like, that dude's strong. Like he's obviously got mad grip strength, strong forearms, solid shoulders, and he can monster 2 times what I can in each hand. And I'm like, time to level up. Like go to the gym, get stronger, eat better. And so
Love it.
it's inspiring to see that, and it's also a good reference to what we were just talking about in that you're selling fitness equipment. But it doesn't matter what you're selling. But you've got this brand you're building, personal and business wise, and me as a customer shows up and there's that immediate perception, right? And so I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at in that conversation we just had, in that no matter what industry you're in, when you get out of the car, walk in the door, introduce yourself, shake hands, there's a perception. And I think in always growing competitive industries, having that extra layer that you look after yourself, I believe adds a layer that if that person can look after them, they can probably look after me because they're disciplined, focused, and there's all the things that come behind that. So I just wanted to cover off on that.
Mate, really appreciate that. Yeah, I guess that's one thing I try to, especially when your business is, just start. I think at that point it was just starting. We just moved into a new warehouse. Um, yeah, a lot of things like, other business owners will know you have to be a bit hands-on with
Mm.
what you do. And I guess with a lot of our products, I think 80% of them are heavy. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it just so happens to be that way. And
Mm.
yeah, no, I really appreciate it. I do, put a lot of commitment into, what we do. Right now I hope we're training, a couple of more people to do those type of warehousing duties and
Mm.
everything. But at the end of the day, when time comes, like when time needs it, I'll
Mm.
obviously pitch in and do what's needed. So no, it's all part of it, mate. And I actually enjoy it. I enjoy that physical labor type of stuff.
Mm.
I'm used to it, and yeah, no, I'm really happy that I have that response from you. Yeah, no, glad to hear it.
Yeah, that's great, mate. And very welcome. And uh, like from because you obviously do this consistently, what advice would you give to someone? Say someone's listened to us have this chat for 30, 40 minutes, they're still listening. What advice would you give them from someone that is building a business, that does look after himself, that has worked out those baseline? You've obviously dropped a heap of weight, stayed fit, and just you've got these fundamental things that keep you ticking in those ways. What advice would you give to someone else who doesn't have that in their world? Like, because some people think, is it worth the time? Is it worth the effort? I don't know what to do. Like, what's your advice?
Yeah, I guess that's where becoming a business owner really it puts a lot of barriers on people who are looking to go on this type of path
Mm.
because in one way they like some people might have a great idea and they might be passionate about it but they don't know where to start. I think like the only advice I can really give is to really just give it a go. Just try. Just if you have a product, start releasing it onto the market. Do whatever possible, whatever's necessary to kind of
Mm.
get yourself out there initially. I think when I first initially started, I was pretty much selling it locally and on Facebook Marketplace. Like I had no programs like started up. And essentially what I did was, I thought, I was originally in the gym and fitness industry. I have contacts, from factories and suppliers that I've built a relationship with
Mm.
for quite a few years. And being back here, and especially during COVID, I didn't know what to do. Everything was shut down. You don't know what lies ahead, kind of thing. And
Mm.
essentially, how I did it was I just like ordered a few things on into a container, learned how the whole shipping and freight forwarding and customs process is involved for that particular part of the business.
Mm. Mm.
Got it over here, and then I was like, how do I sell it? so so pretty much I was, you can say, winging it,
Mm,
but I think every beginning business needs to go through that point
mm,
of really just getting it out, like getting out there, trying to if you have a product, trying to sell it, doing whatever ways necessary to do that, and then gradually grow from there. It
mm,
doesn't have to be perfect at the start. Just one step at a time until you figure out what particular processes you need to improve on to get to the next stage, and then you'll eventually find other things that relate to this particular business where you can open up like different type of marketplaces, online or B2B, yeah, all those type of things that
mm,
maybe at the start of a business you have no idea about, and because you don't have a product, you're not within that world.
mm,
You absolutely have no idea how to kind of move forward, and that can be really overwhelming. Overthinking it can be really overwhelming. So I feel just getting started, one foot after another, and then you'll gradually learn what works. And I felt that's probably what happened in my case for this business.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. It's funny how when you were saying that, there's little things in my brain going, it's the same as fitness and looking after yourself. It's the same as fitness and looking after yourself. It's like try, test, measure, fail, work it out, take the next step, and just don't bloody stop.
Yes, don't stop is very important.
Yeah,
Just keep on going with it, and eventually things will start ticking.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Do you have a big vision if you're open to sharing for the business?
Um, yeah, I guess overall we want to grow our business in the next few years. We've recently just expanded our warehouse in the last year and a bit, to try and accommodate new products and new categories that we've opened up.
Mm,
Expand on our online side, which we have actually improved on these last couple of years, and then just continually grow from there. I think like I said, there's all different like channels that you can target. B2B being, for us, it would be like direct gyms or like studios, stuff like that, which
mm,
we've gradually grown on. Like direct business to customer, which is our online e-commerce type of aspect, which we've also expanded into, multiple marketplaces, and also just in general our online side of things.
mm.
Yeah, I think like that would be one of our biggest targets, just to grow on all fronts.
Yeah,
Yeah, and try to not just that. I guess that would be this particular business, but also in general, try to find opportunities that are also kind of related to this business, but take it in different directions. So we're also looking at that right now.
that's awesome, man. Very cool. Very cool, mate. As far as I guess the fundamentals of what I wanted to cover in the podcast, we've ticked all the boxes, and I appreciate your openness, vulnerability, and sharing your journey and the weight loss and challenges that you've had. It's been really good, and I'm sure that if you're still listening, I always hope that when we have these conversations that if there's one listener with one gold nugget that they take away, if there's one person that hears one thing that changes the trajectory of their life from not exercising, eating well, and going on a downhill spiral, so to speak. If it can pivot one person, that's kind of like a massive win for. It's not kind of like, it definitely is, because there are people that need help with this stuff, and so I appreciate you sharing.
You're most welcome. Yeah, appreciate it.
It's cool, man. Mate, any closing comments, anything that popped up during our chat you want to cover off on or say? Because if not, I'm going to press the big stop button.
Mate, I think that's pretty much it. Like a general share of what I do, and how I feel. I feel you're doing a great thing. Fitness in business is, I guess one part that really resonates with what I do.
Mm,
How to kind of, you know be healthy while doing business, because I know a lot of business owners, like just, friends of mine, also have exactly the same problem. They get too busy while
Mm.
scaling a business, and they neglect their own health, or just lifestyle wise. It's hard to kind of find a medium almost.
Mm.
So, not very, very happy to be here, and like I said, I appreciate it.
Sweet, man. Appreciate you. All right, dude. And listeners, thanks for
Cheers.
tuning in. See you guys next time, next episode. Have a great day. See you, John.
Cheers. See ya.